The following is a presentation of TBS Sports, the new home of the 2007 Major League Baseball playoffs.
Hello again, everybody, along with Chip Caray, Skip Caray, welcoming you to another night of Atlanta Braves baseball from Turner Field. A beautiful night for baseball, clear and cool, a little windy. It's more Wrigley Field-like, really, than Atlanta-like. We had a tremendous ball game here last night. Good because Atlanta won 8-6 if you're a Braves fan, but an exciting game all the way around for both teams. Just a tremendous night of baseball. And the Braves won the game last night, Chip, the way they've won so many games this year. A lot of two-out damage.
Yeah, two-out magic's really been the story for the Braves this year. Jeff Francoeur and Brian McCann doing most of that damage for the Atlanta offense. But what's so odd about the way the Braves have scored this year, 17 runs with nobody out, 18 with one out, but 31 runs with two men out this year. And all 8, as you mentioned last night, with 2 outs, really broke the hearts of the Chicago Cubs. They've really struggled this year. That was a game that Lou Piniella thought he had won with his bullpen. The Braves have had a lot of come-from-behind wins with that 2-out magic. That's one reason why they have the best record in the National League.
So the Braves and Cubs about to have at it. Mark Fine, what did you think of that statistical anomaly?
Great stuff, Skip. We know your son is always real strong with the numbers. Our strong point, well, keeping you up to date. A lot of day baseball. We're going to start with A-Rod. 9 home runs coming into the day. That led the major leagues. But going into the 9th, 0 for 4. 2 on, 2 outs. First base open. Do the Cleveland Indians walk him? No, that's a mistake. You cannot be serious. 3-run walk-off homer, number 10 on the season. He hasn't gone more than 2 games without hitting a homer. Here's the strong batter, Kelly Johnson. He's had it going on for the Braves. They're taking on the Cubs. Next on Braves TBS Baseball.
Braves TBS Baseball, brought to you by the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help. By Red Lobster. Indulge in 30 shrimp for just $12.99 right now at Red Lobster. By Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2. Feeds and strengthens grass, kills weeds completely. And by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
A beautiful windy night in Atlanta, as my dad said. Yes, a Wrigley Field-like night at Turner Field. Winds at 18 miles an hour tonight. We'll see how the Cubs fare against Mark Redmond tonight. And here's a look at Lou Piniella's starting 9 for the final game of this 2-game series. Ryan Theriot will lead off and play second base, followed by Mark DeRosa in right field tonight. Derek Lee, the league's leading hitter, hits third. Aramis Ramirez, the cleanup man, over at third base. Atlanta native Michael Barrett hits fifth. Matt Merton in left sixth. Ronnie Cedeno's the shortstop tonight. Felix Pie, the shortstop, or the center fielder, hits eighth. And Rich Hill will pitch and bat ninth. Mark Redmond needs a good start. He has really been hit hard in his 2 starts with the Braves. This, however, the first time he's been able to pitch on normal rest. He is a touch. He is a feel kind of pitcher. And the opponents are roughing him up, hitting him at nearly a 400 batting average. But against the Cubs, he's had good luck. Lifetime 2-2 with a 2.70 earned run average. The men in black tonight, Lance Barksdale will call the balls and strikes. He's behind the plate with Jim Reynolds over at first, Chris Guccione at second, and Gary Cederstrom, the umpire, at third. Defensively, the Braves line up with Diaz, Jones, and Francoeur from left to right in the outfield. Around the horn on the infield, Chipper, Renteria, Kelly Johnson, and Craig Wilson. Brian Pena gets the start behind the plate, and we are ready to go with Ryan Theriot in the box.
Hitting at .324, and a strike starts the game. 70 degrees at game time. The wind is blowing hard toward the right field corner. Upstairs to Theriot. It's 1-1. He's out of LSU. Started the season red hot, has faded just a little lately. 2 balls and a strike.
He's a terrific defensive second baseman, hitting the ball well this year. Cubs' 3rd round pick 5 years ago.
Out of play, 2-2.
And how about the double play he turned late in the ball game last night? I mean, last night's ball game was, as you said, a real treat for the fans. There was some excellent defense, timely hitting for both clubs.
There were 3 double plays that were just stunning. They were so good. He hit into one of them and was in the middle of another defensively. The 2-2. Down the right field line, trouble if it's fair, but it's not. Count stays 2 balls, 2 strikes. Giants beat the Cardinals today 6-2. Dodgers beat Colorado 8-1. Phillies beat Washington 4-2. Milwaukee 7-5 over Pittsburgh. Padres 11-6 over Arizona. Florida leads the Mets 2-1 in the second. Base hit right field. Theriot starts it with a single. And Mark DeRosa, the batter, had a home run in the first inning 24 hours ago.
Lou Piniella's had an interesting quandary with regard to Theriot and DeRosa. He's had Theriot play some outfield for him this year, but that experiment he thinks is going to end, so DeRosa's going to be a guy that moves around, kind of a super sub. He'll play second base, play some outfield so they can get Theriot's glove into the game and keep DeRosa's bat in the game.
They've got a sort of a muddled outfield picture when everybody's healthy. When Soriano comes back, we've got him and Merton, and this kid PA looks like he's ready right now.
Jock Jones is in the mix too.
Yeah.
But the reason for the Cubs, DeRosa's got 4 home runs. That leads their team. They've only hit 9 as a club this year. Now, granted, they've played 7 games in Chicago. Weather there this time of year is awful. It's not a very good home run hitter's park anyway, believe it or not.
2 balls and a strike to count to the former Brave, who still makes his home in Atlanta. Mark signed a substantial 3-year deal with the Cubs during the offseason. And everybody who knows him very happy for him. He's a great kid. 2-1. There goes the runner. And no throw from Brian Pena. It's 3-1. I don't know if he didn't see him or whether the jump was just so good he didn't bother. Great jump.
5 for 5 is Theriot now in stolen bases, and again he adds an element that the Cubs for years have lacked, and that's speed and base stealing ability at the top of the order. With he and PA, they can try to manufacture runs instead of outslugging the opposition.
Full count on Dero, 3-2. You may have seen him turn to the umpire. Umpires don't mind that. If you swing and miss and then say, did I swing at a strike? They'll give you an answer. That doesn't bother him at all. Payoff pitch. Well hit, but right at him. Diaz has it, 1 out. So DeRosa is retired. He's now just 4 of his last 29. Derek Lee, the batter, leads their team in RBIs with 11. He's hitting .389. And Chip, you know him better than do I, because you were over there with him. Quality human being.
One of the classiest people in the game. Great guy. His dad, Leon Lee, a star in Japanese baseball, a terrific baseball scout over there. And Derek, a very quiet, stoic leader on this Cub club.
1 ball, no strike. Yeah, you don't have to be a cheerleader to be a leader.
No, he leads by example. And really for Derek, a frustrating season for him last year. Broke his wrist, you might recall. Played just 50 games for the Cubs.
The 1-0 pitch to him. The bluff, but no throw.
Broke his right wrist colliding with Rafael Furcal April 19th in Los Angeles, and came back to the Cubs in late June.
The 1-0, he's going to third. Here's the throw. Got him. Theriot sort of took the bat out of Lee's hands there. 2 out. That's a great play if you make it, but if you don't, you were in scoring position. Now you're in the dugout.
Look how Pena handles this pitch from Redmond. Steps behind Derek Lee, and it's cherry picking time. Easy pickoff of Theriot, and chipper to an E. He tagged himself out.
Best camera crew in the business working here tonight, folks. 2 balls, 1 strike. Boston beat Toronto 5-3 today. The Yankees won, as Mark told you, in dramatic fashion with A-Rod again. 10 home runs already. He may catch Barry Bonds this year.
Yeah.
What is that in his career, Hal? 3-2 the count.
Well, with everybody talking about when Bonds passes Aaron, I guess the next logical question is who's going to pass Barry Bonds? You'd have to put A-Rod on that list.
I think he'd have to be number 1 on the list right now. He has 474. Just missed low. Runner at first with 2 out.
Redmond again's a guy that's going to live or die with the corners. Pena sets up, and Mark thought he painted the inside corner at the knees. That angle looks a little low. And so Lee's aboard with 2 outs in a scoreless first.
And Aramis Ramirez, the batter, has hit in all 10 games this year, a 16-game hitting streak overall going back to last year. There's a strike with a breaking ball, 0-1. You can see he's off to a terrific start with the bat. Cubs aren't playing that badly. They're losing a lot of close games. They're 5-9. Lee standing on the bag.
Well, they gave the game away last night with the defensive miscue by Izturis.
And the walk after having Thorman in the hole.
And it's trying to steal third in the first inning when you're already in scoring position with your 3, 4, 5 hitters coming up isn't the smartest base running maneuver either.
Unless you make it, and he did.
He did, exactly.
1-1 the count. To first, runner back. Well, say goodbye to our pal Lonnie Dale, our director tonight. He starts his world tour with the NBA playoffs on our sister station TNT after tonight. Boy, they got him bouncing from Phoenix to Washington to Portland or somewhere. Just unbelievable. Fly ball foul to right.
I don't think Portland's in the.
Portland's not in there?
Not this year, no.
Well, he might go there anyway because they got a Nike store.
Or an Armani store or something, yeah.
1-2 the count. I didn't say he was going to be working the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's a great airport to connect through.
Mm-hmm. A lot of trees and stuff in Portland. Two balls, 2 strikes. Runner at first, 2 out, no score. Top of the first. Crowd similar to that of last night, 25 to 30,000, and always a goodly number of Cubs fans, which, as the evening goes on, makes it even more fun because it gives it that college football flavor. You've got people rooting for both sides. The 2-2 will not be made. Redmond steps off the mound. And the inning is over. He chased a terrible ball and a little bit of a slow start, but a good finish in the first for Mark Redmond. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 left at the end of a half inning, no score.
Well, the Cubs may have run themselves out of a scoring chance in the top of the first. Here's how the Braves line up. Best record in baseball entering play tonight with Kelly Johnson, Edgar Renteria, Chipper Jones, the top 3. Andrew Jones, Jeff Francoeur, Matt Diaz, who's red hot in left field tonight. Greg Wilson at first. Brian Pena behind the plate. And Redmond, of course, pitch and bad ninth against one of the game's most exciting young pitchers. Rich Hill, a left-hander, 2-0 with a microscopic earned run average. A big curveball is his out pitch. He's got a good fastball as well. He's out of the University of Michigan. Since September 1st last year, he's 5-1 with the Cubs.
And he deals a strike. It's 0-1. He's got one of the best curveballs in baseball. An old-time curveball right over the top. Low and away, a ball and a strike.
He's also been a Cubs stopper. They're 6-1 when he pitches after they've lost a game the day or night before.
Kelly pops one down the left field side. A long run from Burton. Look out. It reaches the seats. He's okay, and it's 1-2. Braves head for New York after tonight's game. 3-game series over there. Tim Hudson against Mike Pelfrey. It'll be fun to look at him tomorrow night. That's on TBS. Ground ball headed for left field. Kelly Johnson continues his good work. And a good start for Atlanta in the first. Edgar Renteria, the batter.
Kelly's got 7 hits in his last 10 at bats now, and I talked to him before the ball game about how he fares against lefties, and he says he really almost prefers seeing them. He gets a very good look at the baseball. He keeps that right shoulder in, doesn't bail out on the pitch, and he's able to hit the ball the other way, and he's quick enough and strong enough to pull the inside pitch and hit it out of the park to right.
Good bunt. Hill's going to have to hurry. Got him. It'll be a sacrifice. A 1-3. Runner in scoring position, 1 away.
And both teams are playing this game like it's a windy day at Wrigley Field. Playing for an early run. Renteria, a perfect bunt. And Hill took him a little while to uncoil that 6'5" frame, and he just did get Edgar. So the Braves now have Kelly in scoring position. 1 out in the heart of their order coming up.
And while Hill and Ramirez were charging for the baseball, Michael Barrett was charging up the third baseline to cover third. If he doesn't, Kelly Johnson just keeps running and winds up at third with 1 out. For the shortstop is moving towards second to take a throw there. There's that big curveball to Chipper, 0-1. Chipper has never batted against Rich Hill. He pitched 1 fine game against us, I recall, last year. He has not allowed a hit with a runner on base this year. They're 0 for 11.
And that game of which you spoke was last September against John Smoltz. So he's a good one. He gives Cubs fans hope after the miseries of Wood and Pryor for the last 5 years.
There's that curveball again, but he didn't get the call. 2 balls and a strike. Good news for the Braves today. An MRI of Mike Gonzalez's elbow showed no structural damage. It was more for his peace of mind than anything else. Ground ball to third should be easy. They look the runner back and throw him out. 2 down. So Mike will take 2 or 3 days off, and then hopefully we'll be good to go. Here's Andruw Jones off to a slow start. He has 3 homers, but only a 180 batting average.
But maybe the Braves have him right where they want him. Runner in scoring position, 2 outs.
Yeah, that's been their modus operandi this year. Andruw 0 for 3 in his career against the Cubs left-hander. There's that curveball, 0-1. Mets have reclaimed the lead 3-2 at Florida in the third. There it is again, 0-2. Boy, it's a dandy. Runner at second, 2 out. Little weak grounder to short. Inning over.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Michael Barrett leads off the second out of Pace Academy here in Atlanta. He looks at a strike. He got off to a dreadful start, but he has 10 hits and 9 RBIs in his last 10 games, so he's fighting his way out of it. Low and inside. A ball and a strike, the count. We are scoreless after 1. Two and 1 the count now. Up the middle, that's going to get through for a hit. So Michael Barrett is aboard to start the second. Matt Merton will be the batter. Merton hitting .231 with a couple of RBIs. He's another member of their farm system who has fought his way to the major league level. Merton out of Fort Lauderdale now lives in Kissimmee, Florida. Hit .321 and 140 at bats for the Cubs last year. 0-1 the count to it.
He's really all that remains from the Nomar Garciaparra trade. He came over from the Red Sox, and they've really loved his bat. But as you mentioned earlier, they've got a lot of outfielders on this team, and they're very right-handed offensively, and that does hurt Matt Merton's playing time.
A strike makes it 0-2. The other thing that hurts, let's face it, everybody knows baseball is a business. You've got DeRosa making plenty of money, so you feel obligated to play him. Soriano, when he's healthy, you know is going to play. He's one of the outstanding hitters in the game. Jacques Jones is making a lot of money, so he's going to play some. Double play ball, maybe. 6-4. Safe at first. Bang banger, but he beat it.
Bobby thought that they got Merton at first. We'll check the replay. Renteria got it to Kelly very quickly, used the bag to defend himself, got off a good strong throw, and tie goes to the runner. Looked like Merton beat it.
Kelly had just a millisecond hesitation getting that ball out of his glove, which may have cost the double play. But you know Ramirez is going to play third base every day because of his salary. And because he's a heck of a player. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying that economics dictate that some guys are going to play because you're paying them a lot of money to play. So there aren't a whole lot of spots open.
And the other part of it for the Cubs, Dad, they haven't won a World Series in almost 100 years. And the other issue that they've had in Chicago, because of that, they don't have the luxury of saying to their fans, hey, give us 2 years so we can develop our kids and let them play like McCann and Francoeur and Langerhans and Foreman are doing with Atlanta. So they consequently go out and go into the free agent market, sign players who are major league ready, but maybe block kids like Ronnie Cedeno.
Who's hitting now? Cedeno at .059. This is only his 5th start of the year. Tell you what, with Lou Piniella down there, they give him time, he'll get it straightened out. Much was made about a mini Piniella eruption the other day at a news conference. Folks, believe me, writers and broadcasters are not without fault. And the guy that caused that eruption, I've erupted at him myself. Fly ball right. Francoeur drifts back. The wind fooled him a little bit, but he's got it. 2 down. Sometimes you just can't take it anymore.
Well, yeah, and that's, again, the all-invasiveness of the Chicago media. They're benign, they're harmless, but it is the most analyzed franchise perhaps in the National League and maybe all of baseball because of that long 99-year history of losing, as it were, for Chicago. But I agree with you. Give Lou Piniella this year. He's still evaluating his team. He's still looking at his players. And from June 1 on, I think is going to be a much fairer gauge of where the Cubs are and where they're going to go than it will be the first 2 months of the season.
There's a great graphic that probably explains better than words one of the problems. You can't change and change and change and change. Different philosophy. every time. So a player who's valuable to a manager, then the manager gets fired. That player is less valuable for the way the next manager plays. And it's constant flux and upheaval for everybody.
And even more so now because the team's for sale. Nobody knows who's going to be the owner after this year. Carlos Zambrano's contract extension on hold, some feel, because of that. But they know Lou's going to be there for 3 years. And you're right. He'll turn it around.
Strike called right in there. PA is hitting only 200, but he was hitting 444 at Iowa when they called him up. That gets your attention. And he may be bound back for Iowa. I don't know. But one of these days, he's going to force his way into their lineup. He's got too many tools not to. 0-2 the count. So far, Mark Redmond by far his best Atlanta start. Baseball America, by the way, is, I guess, without much doubt, when they rate you number one, that means a lot because they really work hard in covering minor league baseball as well as the big league stuff. They are truly the baseball Bible now. The 0-2 pitch. Up and away, a ball and 2 strikes. Let's see, TV time tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Game time is 7:10. That's one of those super duper games tomorrow. High pop right side. Will the wind bring it back? No. 1-2 the count. Speaking of upcoming games, you see the TBS schedule. That X stands for super duper game.
I hope they have a Sonic in New York.
Oh, I'm sure they do. They'll have one in Seattle for 1 more year. Well, that's the team. Never mind. 1-2 the count. Grounded foul. They have good burgers. Everybody talks about their drinks, but that's a good cheeseburger.
Nice catch by Tim Hudson. Look what I found.
Behind him is the actor Billy Bob Thornton. Oh, actually, that's Chris Woodward, but he looks like him. 1-2 the count. PA waits and Redmond delivers. Just missed. 2-2. What are some of the features on tomorrow's super duper game?
Well, I think we're going to have a youth movement. We can't tell you who it is because that will ruin the surprise. We'll have
we got surprises.
Oh, yeah. What's in my locker with Jeff Francoeur.
Gonna have to hurry. If that stays fair, it goes foul.
We'll have, I think, will we have pitch tracks, Glenn? All right, we'll have pitch tracks. We'll have
what is
Sonic.
What is pitch tracks?
That's where you the computer generated image of the strike zone to track where a pitch crosses the plate.
Can't you see that from watching the game?
Some people can. Some people can't.
Oh. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul back. One of the shorter features will be Great Braves moments with Eddie Perez. No, I'm just kidding about this short segment part.
Eddie, that was Skip, not Chip.
Eddie hit a grand slam in the playoffs against the Cubs, as a matter of fact.
Julio Franco, I think, will be mic'd up during the game tomorrow night, so it'll be fun.
Hot shot, good play by Craig Wilson, and the inning is over.
Beautiful night in Atlanta, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Together, we create a positive place for kids.
Jeff Francoeur will lead off the second inning. Don't forget, on the 6th of May, when the Dodgers are in town, it's Bark in the Park now.
Really?
Football, yeah. Larry Carey is coming out, joining the festivities. Francoeur hitting .255. He will doubtless bring his pink ball and sit with Pete Nye in the radio booth. Unless I have to come over here, I don't know.
And restore order, no doubt, right? And restore order.
No. Well, then Larry's going to be over here with you and me, baby. Up the middle, there's a good start in the second. Francoeur drills a single. And speaking of the little animals, reminds me that a great organization here in Atlanta, the Small Animal Rescue Foundation, is having a fundraiser May 7th at the Capital City Club here. For more information, Mutts, M-U-T-T-S, and Putts, P-U-T-T-S.org, muttsandputts.org. They do great work. They've saved a lot of dogs. Inside to Matt Diaz, whose hustle on a routine ground ball last night played a big part in the Atlanta victory. My personal key to the game was the Cubs losing Scott Thorman with a 1-2 count, 2 out, nobody on, walking him. After that came the leg hit by Diaz, and after that came 3 Atlanta runs that won the game. High pop, short right, long run to Rosa. He made a good play, 1 out.
Boy, he had to go a long way to catch this ball in the wind again, pushing everything toward the stands. And DeRosa kept his eye on the ball, made a basket catch. Excellent play for a very valuable utility player for the Cubs.
Craig Wilson is the batter. It's getting a little better for Craig, but nowhere near where he wants it to be. He's hitting .174. Runner at first, 1 out. Wilson has never batted against Hill before. Craig was in the American League last year when Hill came to the Bigs. A ball and a strike. Our old buddy Matt Sinatro in the Chicago dugout, a former Braves catcher. He's been with Lou Piniella
10 years.
all over, yeah. Off his thumbs, fouled back, 1-2. Hill to the rosin bag, and we're about to go back to work. And that takes care of Craig Wilson. Hill records his first strikeout, his 12th of the year, and 15 2/3 innings.
That's what makes him so tough. You know he's got that big breaking ball for his out pitch, and his fastball's good enough, and he has pinpoint control with it. This year, Hill has struck out 12 men, has walked only 4 in 15 innings and 2/3. He's a really important part of the Cubs' future. Again, with Kerry Wood and Mark Prior still very much in doubt, they like him a lot.
Pena base hit to right. That'll get Francoeur to third. 1st and 3rd with 2 out and the pitcher hitting. Mark Redmond 0 for 2 on the year.
And that's the first hit this year Hill has given up with a man on base. And that's how you got to go after Rich Hill. Hit it the other way. There's plenty of room out there in right if you're a right-hand hitter. And Francoeur no trouble motoring all the way around, and now a chance for Redmond to help himself.
1st and 3rd, 2 out. Derek Lee calls time, and he's in for a word with his pitcher. Right in there with a fastball, 0-1.
Look, ways, Lance. Same pitch.
Lee plays behind the runner at first, 0-2. Let's see if he goes to that big curveball here, or whether he tries to blow him away. He's been working on his change of pace. He just missed with a fastball, 1-2. But I doubt you would throw your 3rd best pitch in this spot with a go-ahead run in scoring position. That's that.
Fans, it's time for our know-how question of the game, built by the Home Depot. If you have a question, send us an email, and if chosen, we will answer it later in tonight's game. Send your email to tbsmailbag@atlantabraves.com, and please include your name and where you're from.
Rich Hill will lead off the 3rd inning, so Redmond will have a chance to try to return the compliment. Hill just struck him out. Rich is 0 for 5 on the year. Braves have 3 hits, Cubs have 2 to this point. Hill fouls it back, 0-1. Chip and Skip with you from Turner Field. Lance Barksdale, your home plate umpire.
He's not working Bark in the Park Day, is he?
He should be, but I don't know if he is. They don't announce the officials that far in advance. But it's a good thought. We could request it. Oh, 0-2. So anyway, just to get to the point of it, wear old shoes and Levi's, because it could get a little testy up here.
Yes.
Hill dribbles one to first. That should be easy. Wilson takes it himself, 1 down. Let's go to Mark Fine in our studios. Mark?
All right, Skip, you mentioned Lou Piniella earlier. Charlie Manuel exchanging barbs with the media recently. 3-10 coming into the day of the Phils, but they got the Nats. Tom Gordon working in and out of trouble in the ninth. 4-2, the final.
Okay, Mark, thank you. And here's Ryan Theriot, who singled to right his first time, stole a base, then tried to steal another, and got gunned down by Brian Pena. A little low, 1 ball, no strikes. We are scoreless in the 3rd.
Couple points on the Phillies. Ryan Howard's got a ligament problem in his knee. He's going to miss a couple of games.
That's in there, 1-1.
John Lieber back in the rotation, and Brett Myers, who signed that big contract in the offseason and whom the Phillies thought could be a 20-game winner this year, is going into the bullpen in middle relief for him.
It's hard to believe. He pitched opening day against us, I think.
Yeah. And looked good. Looked very good. But getting the ball to Flash Gordon, today's game notwithstanding, has been a huge problem for the Phillies.
The 1-2 pitch, here it is. Just a little low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mets are blowing that game open. They're starting to swing the bats a little bit. They lead Florida 8-2. Bottom of the 4th in Florida.
See how Carlos Delgado's doing in that game. Remember when the Mets were here, he wasn't swinging the bat well.
No. That takes care of Theriot. Tally ho, Theriot. 2 down.
Delgado tonight 1 for 2 with a couple of RBIs, but hitting .232 for New York.
Here's D-Row. Former Brave, former University of Pennsylvania quarterback. Had a big year with Texas last year. And like he's doing with the Cubs, played all over the place. He shatters the bat, hits it foul. It's only a matter of time till somebody gets hurt with one of those barrels. They make the bat handle so skinny now that anytime you get jammed, your bat shatters. Coming out of spring training, if somebody would have told you in the 15th game of the year Mark DeRosa led the Cubs in homers, you'd have called for the men with the white coats.
Well, you'd have said they were worse than 5-9.
He foul tipped that one. 1-2 the count, but Soriano's been hurt. Lee has yet to hit a home run, though he's driven in 11. Ramirez has hit only 1.
Well, the biggest misconception about the home park in which the Cubs play is that it's a home run hitter's paradise. It is when the wind is blowing out, but the wind blows in or across 60–70% of the time. And in their history, the Cubs have really struggled to build a team that can manufacture offense.
Started to go, held up 2-2. I know every starting pitcher, when they're in Chicago, when they wake up the day they pitch, the first thing they do is open the curtains and check the wind.
Now, if the wind was blowing out at Wrigley Field, this is a Cub team that can bludgeon you to death.
Breaks another bat, pops it up. Chipper catches it as Edgar Renteria didn't know what to do. The bat was sailing at him. He wound up right on his wallet, but Chipper made the play and the inning ended.
Saddle up with TBS for a typical Western with gun duels, damsels in distress, and karate. Yep, just another Western. Don't miss Shanghai Noon, Saturday night at 8 on TBS.
Bottom of the 3rd, top of the order up there. Kelly Johnson leads it off. Here to tell you about it, Chip Caray.
All right, Dan, thanks. Kelly 7 hits in his last 10 at-bats. And the Braves have had the leadoff man in each of the first 2 innings of tonight's game against left-hander Rich Hill. First time he's dropped down sidearm in tonight's ball game, and he missed with the pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's what you love to see out of your leadoff man, taking pitches, working the counts, getting your share of hits. Kelly puts that one into play, and an easy play for Theriot. And there's your first out here in the 3rd inning for Edgar Renteria, who laid down a beautiful sacrifice bunt back in the 1st inning tonight. Wind continues to really blow hard tonight in Atlanta. It's really swirling around. It's going to be tough to hit it out. You'll have to hit it out under radar, as the players will say. That means a line shot, and even then it may not go out. So both the Braves and Cubs have scoring opportunities they may wish they had back later on tonight. Out of play for Renteria. He's down a strike.
If you can hit it up in the air toward right center, you might have a chance because the wind might blow it over the fence near the line.
But to left, a lot tougher. Ball and a strike. New York, Florida, and Colorado, the next 3 stops for the Braves before we come back to Atlanta on the 30th of April to face the Phillies. The Dodgers, the Padres next in. That's the first homestand in May. Old foul past third. Count remains a ball. 2 strikes. Braves didn't win their 10th game last season until the final day of April. They had a 10-14 record last April. They enter play tonight at 10-4, best record in baseball. And there's a shot to left. Matt Merton will give ground and make the catch on the track. There's that shot we were talking about. That ball was hit hard, but the wind knocked it down. 2 away.
Get out quick at the end of the half inning. The producer's in a bad mood.
Why is he in a bad mood?
I think because I'm here.
Oh. Here's Chipper Jones. Andrew's on deck. Chipper Jones, a 9-game hit streak. He bounced out to Ramirez last time up. Well, the Braves have seen a lot of left-handed pitching to start the year. This is already the 23rd bat for Chipper against the southpaw in 2007. Wind's going to push that one over the Braves dugout. This game number 15 of the year. Braves facing their 8th left-handed starter. And Hill's a good one. Fly ball center field, well hit. PA is going to have room. That ball tattooed, but 3 up and 3 down for the Braves in our scoreless third at Turner Field in Atlanta.
Time for tonight's Aflac trivia question. Yes, thank you. Since 1920, who's the only left-handed pitcher for the Cubs to have a 20-win season? We'll have the answer. Let you ponder it for a while.
Derek Lee jumps at the first pitch. Chipper behind the bag at third. Robs Derek Lee of an extra base hit.
That's an outstanding effort by Chipper. He got a good break on that ball. Infielders get breaks on balls just like outfielders. And he didn't panic even though it's a fast man running. Got up and made an accurate throw.
So that's a lift for Mark Redmond. And here's Aramis Ramirez, who struck out swinging his first time up. All of a sudden, Redmond in a groove. He's retired 7 men in a row. Cubs have stranded a single base runner in the first and second tonight. The Theriot base running blunder might cost them tonight. That came in the first. And what a difference for Redmond. First time in a Braves uniform that Mark has pitched in his regular turn in the rotation. And he's a guy that has said he needs regular work to stay sharp. He's hit his spots tonight. Chipper, funny hop, hung with it, takes care of Ramirez. Hit it somewhere else. Cubbies 2 out.
Well, he's gone to his right. Now he proves he can go to his left with an in-between hop.
That's the other thing about the Braves this year. They've played pretty solidly on defense. 11 errors in 14 games for the Braves. And Michael Barrett swings and unloads. Deep left field. Wind or no wind, that one's going to go. Michael Barrett hits his second home run with 2 outs. And the Cubs have an early lead.
Well, that makes the 2 plays by Chipper Jones loom that much larger. This could be a huge inning. The crowd cheers as the ball is returned. Let's see what he hit. Looks like a fastball away, but not away far enough.
So the Cubs have a lead again tonight. And with 2 outs, Matt Mertens coming up. That one's up the middle. And 2 straight hits for Chicago now. And Ronnie Cedeno, the shortstop, who's 1 for 18 this year, is coming to the plate. That 1 hit, however, left the ballpark.
All righty. About same way.
Cedeno, 6 feet tall, out of Carabobo, Venezuela.
Get ready, Ronnie.
At 245 in 151 games for the Cubs last year, playing second and short, mostly at shortstop. But 25 errors, a real problem for Cedeno. That's why they went out and got Cesar Izturis to shore up the defense. And now Cedeno playing off the bench, getting spot starting duty for Lou Piniella and the Cubs. They lead it 1-0, 4th inning here at Turner Field. Center field, but Andrew will track that down. And Michael Barrett's home run, the only scoring in the game so far, his second in the 4th. And Chicago leads it 1-0.
The NBA playoffs on TNT.
In the playoffs, there is only one reality.
Win, go home.
Experience basketball's crowning drama, including TNT's exclusive coverage of the Eastern Conference Finals. It's the 2007 NBA playoffs beginning Sunday on TNT.
Cubbies with a 1-run lead as Andrew Jones will greet Rich Hill in the 4th inning for the Braves. Andrew tapped out weakly to short for his first time up. He's averaged to 176. And it's that big breaking ball that he hasn't been able to pick up yet. Hill started him out with it in both at bats. Got him at 0-2 with the curveball last time up. Same story, 0-2.
Boy, that's a great pitch, isn't it?
The pitch of the 90s was the slider. And with the mound lower than low after that 68 season in baseball, youngsters don't throw that big curveball as much anymore. So he's really a throwback pitcher for Chicago. And living proof for Larry Rothschild, the fine Cubs pitching coach. You don't have to throw 95 miles an hour to be successful in the major leagues. But 91 good enough. But a 2-2 count. Another breaking ball froze him. That's 3 strikeouts on the night.
What a curveball he's got. Let's remind you of our Aflac trivia question. Only Cubs left-hander to win 20 since the 1920 season. I saw him pitch, but I never recalled him winning that many. Dick Ellsworth.
Man. A little low to Jeff Francoeur, who singled leading off the Atlanta second. Braves have stranded 3 men, 2 of them in scoring position, trailed by a run. And the count to Jeff at a ball and a strike. I think John Lieber was the last Cub to win 20 games. Of course, a right-handed pitcher now with the Philadelphia Phillies. He was back in 2001.
Well, the Pryor and Wood thing is really sad.
It is.
2 guys who looked like they were going to be John Smoltz, Greg Maddux, you name it, type pitchers. I mean, that class of pitcher dominating for many, many years, and due to physical problems, it hasn't happened for either one of them.
Francoeur up the middle. Nice pick, Cedeno, and a great throw to first, and an even better hold of the bag by Derek Lee. Cedeno up the middle shows his range, and the Cubs defense tonight has been outstanding. 2 out.
You can see why Lou likes to play him. He is an outstanding defensive shortstop. The question is, will he hit enough? And I don't know. That was pretty close with Lee, but no argument from Atlanta. Looked like he did have the corner of the bag before the Francoeur's foot got there.
Yeah, with Kerry Wood continuing tendonitis in his shoulder, he's still disabled as Matt Diaz comes up and unloads on the first pitch foul with Mark Pryor. He's on the minor league disabled list. And since 2004, Wood and Pryor are 30 and 32, and frankly the Cubs are saying privately anything they get from them this year and beyond is going to be a huge bonus. I don't think they're counting on either one of those guys, and after that incredible 2003 season for Chicago, you're right, Wood and Pryor were going to be the anchors of that rotation with Carlos Zambrano for the next 10 years.
I always think back, and I have no reason to think this, but there's that curveball again. Remember the game? I know you do because you were there. I think it was against Houston where Wood struck
the 20
out
strikeout game, yeah.
In a brutally cold day. I wonder how much that took out of his arm.
Strike three on a fastball right down the middle, and Mr. Hill is dealing tonight. He's retired 7 straight. He struck out 4, and he leads 1-0 on the road in Atlanta.
Braves TDS Baseball, brought to you by Orbitz.com. Just Orbitz and go. And by Thompson's Water Seal. Powerful protection against water damage. Guaranteed.
22-year-old left-hander Felix Pie is up for the Cubs, leading off the 5th. They lead 1-0. Pie, born in La Romana of the Dominican Republic, and that's where he resides. He's the #1 Cubs prospect. Blazing speed. A very good defensive outfielder. The only question for the Cubs, will he hit? And with that in mind, Pie, who led off last night's game for Chicago against Kyle Davies, who pitches right-handed, Lou Piniella moves him down to the 8th spot to give him a little protection and lets him show his wares against Mark Redmond, who's pitching much better tonight than at any other time in a Braves uniform. He has scattered 4 Cub hits, and only the Barrett home run in the first pitch he saw in the 4th inning has scored tonight. Pie rolls over the top of a breaking ball. Should be easy, it is, and Pie's retired for out #1. Mark Fine, it's a 1-0 game in favor of the Cubs. What else is happening around the bigs tonight?
Well, we wanted to show you some scoring there, Chip. How about the Mets already 5-2 over Florida when catcher Ramon Castro gets a hold of one. That off Rick Vandenhurk. He's kind of the sacrificial lamb tonight for Florida. That's Carlos Beltran, 4th of the season for him, also off Vandenhurk. They lead it big.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Mets trying to win their 10th game of the season. Marlins at 6-8 have been struggling of late. For Freddie Gonzalez, Marlins have lost 4 consecutive games, as a matter of fact. A pitch to Hill, that's dumped into left field. Diaz coming on, makes the play. They had him played well. And there's your second out. Back to that point my dad was making about Kerry Wood. That was May 6th of '98. Kerry Wood went 9 innings, a 1-hit shutout, no walks, 20 strikeouts through 122 pitches in that game. The only hit was a questionable infield single off the glove of Kevin Ory, who was the 3rd baseman that day. I've long said that it was the single best and maybe single worst thing that ever could have happened in Kerry Wood's, at that time, young career. But what folks forget about that '98 season, the Cubs needed Kerry Wood to take the ball and pitch deep into the games, because they were fighting for a wild card spot in 1998. And so a lot of pitches, a lot of work, a lot of strikeouts for Kerry Wood that year. Ultimately the Cubs got to the playoffs, but did it shorten, or will it shorten, Kerry Wood's effectiveness as a major league starting pitcher or relief pitcher?
We'll never know.
Open for debate for sure. Again to second. Terrio should be retired, and Redmond breezes through the 5th inning. Let's see if the Braves bats can solve that Rich Hill curveball. Lower 3rd coming up in a 1-0 game.
T-shirts in the 2007 Braves catalog. Order your catalog at 1-800-433-BRAVES or visit the Braves clubhouse store at CNN Center.
See if Craig Wilson can get something going here in the 5th inning for the Braves. He took a called 3rd strike back in the 2nd inning for Atlanta tonight. 1-0 on a Michael Barrett homer. That's the only run, obviously. And Wilson puts a charge into that one. Plenty of distance, but well foul. Change pace. That's the pitch Dad said he's been working on. A show me change up that Wilson took. 2 balls and a strike.
That's a pitch you just want to put in the hitter's mind. Let him know you have it.
Even slower that time, but got it over for a strike. Well, I'll say this. Carlos Zambrano, you've got to tip your cap for the bravado. He said he's going to win the Cy Young Award this year for the Cubs. As Wilson missed the breaking ball. That's 5 Hill strikeouts, 1 away. But Carlos hasn't been the man on this staff that's pitching like a Cy Young candidate. It's the kid on the mound, Rich Hill, who has. Zambrano lost a 5-run lead earlier this year. At times looked disinterested last night. He's 1-2. But Hill, Lilly, and Marquis, all 3 of those guys pitching pretty well. The real question for the Cubs is not that will Zambrano rebound. He's got overwhelming stuff. They've got to figure out the back end of that rotation. What's going to happen with Wade Miller, who's been hit very hard for Lou Piniella? A kid named Angel Guzman, who they are very high on. And if Miller's troubles continue, Guzman might get summoned from the minor leagues and get put into that Chicago rotation.
You know, Hill hasn't had a 3-ball count on anybody tonight.
Pinpoint command, as we talked about. Braves haven't been able to pick up the breaking ball. And they've mustered 3 hits. He's retired 8 in a row in the game tonight. Again, it's not called throwing, it's called pitching. And he's doing a beautiful job in this game. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's a throwback pitcher back to the 40s and 50s with that big curveball. And guys would pitch 15, 20 years without arm trouble. I don't know.
Did guys throw sliders per se, or did they call them hard curveballs back then?
I guess some guys did, but most guys it was like this, the over-the-top curveball that really drops. That's what they used to call it years ago, a drop, not even a curveball.
And the mound was higher too, which would help big, tall guys like Hill drop that curveball, get the big snap, and bring it down.
Naturally, since we brought it up, he goes to a 3-2 count.
Yes. Bryant took a shot the other way. Good idea, but Terrio had him played perfectly. And Redmond's coming up as Hill's gone through the Braves order without a base runner.
And on 65 pitches through almost 5 innings.
Yeah, he wants you to put it in play. He's going to show you a fastball. If you don't get that, you got to guess when the curve is coming, and even when you know it's coming, you can't hit it.
Meanwhile, while he's been brilliant, Mark Redmond hadn't been so shabby either. This is a shot in the arm for the Atlanta staff, because his first 2 starts were very ugly.
Ball and a strike. Now 1-2. Braves will have the top of the order coming up in the 6th. And now a 1-2 count. Missed the corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tip of the cap to Mark Burley. First no-hitter of the season last night for the White Sox, and nearly a perfect game. No perfect game for the White Sox or no-hitter tonight. Sammy Sosa's hit another homer for Texas. And Redmond is retired. That's 6 strikeouts for Rich Hill. 10 straight Braves have been retired by the tall, lanky lefty for the Chicago Cubs. Baseball playoffs, and this October you can watch exclusive coverage of the National and American League Division Series and the National League Championship Series right here on TBS. 1-0. Chicago is in front as we mosey along to the 6th inning. Both Rich Hill and Mark Redmond pitching very, very well on a pitcher-friendly night. Wind blowing in at Turner Field at 18 miles per hour. And the Cub fans, as always, out in force on the road as they try to win for the 6th time this season. 2, 3, 4 spots coming up for Chicago. That's DeRosa, that's Lee, that's Aramis Ramirez, and back to a man who's always Tony. Once again, my dad, Skip Caray.
Thank you, Chip. Mark DeRosa will lead off the 6th. The paint bucket was the winner in the Home Depot race here at the ballpark tonight for those of you who wager on such things. 0-1 to Dero, who has lined to left and popped to third. It is getting a little nippy here. One and one the count. High pop. See what the wind does with that. Andrew comes jogging in, no problem, 1 out. Dero is struggling. He's 4 for 31 despite a home run last night. Here's Derek Lee, who has walked and bounced out. 1-0 Chicago, our score. An old-fashioned pitcher's duel here tonight. This guy is a tough hitter. 0-1 the count.
Sorry, Dad. One of the quietest sluggers you'll ever hear about in baseball. 216 lifetime homers in 1,200 games.
Well hit center field, but Andrews going to get there. The wind holds it up. 2 down.
Cubs are used to that.
Yes, they are. Ramirez, the batter. Ramirez has struck out and bounced to third. Like Lee, was robbed of a hit by Chipper Jones. Just prior to the Michael Barrett homer. The only run of the game. Florida bats in the 6th. They trail the Mets 8-2. There's the work, good work done by Mark Redmond tonight. Be sure you're with Chip and Joe for the TBS Extra Friday night. And we'll have a lot of fun Sunday. Pete and I on radio and Chip and Joe here on TBS when old friends John Smoltz and Tom Glavine meet again. Both are pitching lights out this year. 2-2 is the count. Tim Hudson has been virtually unhittable this year. Mike Pelfrey is a guy the Mets are really high on. Be fun to see him pitch. High drive. Will the wind hold it up? Back goes Diaz to the wall. Where's the ball? Home run. See if Diaz is okay. He hit that wall flush. The wind almost brought it back, but not quite. Number 2 for Ramirez. It's 2-0.
And for him, a 17-game hitting streak. He's now 2 homers away from 200, and he went down and got a pitch. Heck of a job of hitting by Ramirez. And Diaz just a step shy of making a leaping try at the wall. And the Cubs, with 2 home runs, lead 2-0.
A fan fell over the wall into the sod farm out there. I hope he's all right. He climbed back up, so apparently he's okay. Here's Barrett, who has the other homer. Up and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Yeah, he's all right. By the way, they gave away 10,000 John Smoltz t-shirts before the game to fans tonight. All one size. Large.
So let's see in that matchup, Glavine with 293 career wins, Smoltz with 195.
And a whole bunch of saves.
Yep.
2 Hall of Famers without much doubt. 3 balls and a strike. I can't think of anyone who wouldn't vote for either one of them.
Only one other guy has 150 wins and 150 or more saves, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
That's Dennis Eckersley.
The one I can't figure out is if you're going to have closers in the Hall of Fame, how come the guy that had the most saves before Trevor Hoffman did it, Lee Smith, how come he's not in?
I don't have any idea. Why is Ron Santo not in? Why are some guys in that shouldn't be?
Sure.
A lot of politics. The 3-2 got him. Barrett out on strike. The inning is over.
Braves TBS Baseball. Brought to you by PlayStation 3, Play Beyond, and by Lamisil Gel Advanced.
We go to the bottom of the 6th. Kelly Johnson leads things off. Time to go to work. And he does into deep right center. Back goes DeRosa on the track. Can't get it. He and PA get mixed up. And the ball bounces for what will be a ground rule double. Second hit of the night for Kelly.
That's the big question for the Cubs. Outfield defense. And even more so when Soriano's in it. This is the 91st game that DeRosa has played in the outfield. PA, however, hasn't played many games in the big leagues at all. DeRosa, though, a little bit of gator arm action out there in right center field. He thought there might have been a collision. He heard the footsteps, and that's a ball that should have been caught. Now the Braves in business with a runner at second, nobody out.
It is, of course, scored a double, and here's Renteria. Fastball outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Let's take a look at Edgar's scorecard, brought to you by Honda Motorcycles. Fly ball left field. Wendell hold it up. Runner tags, stays where he is. Because Merton was very alert on the play and showed a strong arm throw into third. 1 out.
Not what Edgar had in mind there. He wanted to get Kelly Johnson to third for Chipper Jones. Yes, he's already in scoring position, but had he done that, a fly ball here would get the Braves a run.
Chipper has grounded to third and flied to center. You like to get to the Cubs bullpen if you can. There doesn't appear to be any activity out there yet. There is not. Ground ball to short. Cedeno. Boy, he's a good-looking defensive shortstop. 2 out. And it's all up to Andrews. Grounded out and struck out.
This is when Hill gets tough, man. Runners in scoring position. Nothing. 0 for 11. That's how you give up 1 run now in nearly 20 innings of work on that hill.
I think his best pitches tonight have been to Andrew Jones to this point. Maybe the law of averages will come into action and he'll hang one here. He hasn't done that much yet.
He's thrown him 2 curveballs on the first 2 pitches in every at bat tonight. Will he do it again?
Breaking ball, 1 ball, no strikes. Tying run at the plate, but there are 2 out, and the Braves are down by 2.
A lot of 2-out action for the Braves this year, but the middle of the Braves order really struggling with men in scoring position.
There's that hook again, 1-1. You can be looking for it, and it's still such a good pitch, it's hard to hit. A little bit low, and not that bad a pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike. Bobby Cox has headed to the far end of the dugout, trying to change the luck here. There it is again, 2-2. The crowd boos, but he's making great pitches, and Andrew would be the first to tell you so. As they say, it only takes 1. Missed high with a fastball. That's the other thing that curveball does. It makes his fastball look like it's faster than it is.
Pitches backwards. His fastball's like his changeup.
3-2 inside. Andrew draws a pass. So 2 are on with 2 out. And the go-ahead run comes to the plate in the person of Jeff Francoeur. That is the first walk of the night. Only the 5th of the year for Rich Hill. Francoeur has singled and grounded to short. With runners in scoring position, he's hitting .438. That was a high fastball he didn't get, 0-1.
And look at these impressive stats.
Fastball again. He surprised him with that. 2 fastballs in a row. It's 0-2. You can see why a hitter would just go up there and say, I'm going to sit on the curveball rather than the fastball. So what do you do? 0-2. There's another former Brave. Cubs hitting coach Gerald Perry. The 0-2. Fastball. He fought it off again. 3 fastballs in a row. 1 up in the zone, 2 down.
Jeff has slightly opened up his batting stance. A little crouch now. Sees the ball better, he says, than he did at any time last year.
Another fastball. He missed with it. 1-2. 4 in a row.
And those are the kinds of pitches that early this season and most of last year that Jeff would be hacking at. He's now taking those pitches.
The 1-2. When's he going to throw the curve? Not yet. Ground ball to short. Cedeno to second, and he's out of the inning. A leadoff double comes to nothing.
This June, meet the Pains.
Hey, Pop, don't touch me. I don't know what your hands be.
3 generations under one roof and going over the edge. Don't miss Tyler Perry's all-new comedy series, House of Pain, coming this June only to TBS.
Lower end of the order for the Cubs in the 7th against Mark Redmond. Matt Merton, the former Georgia Techer, leads it off. He's 1 for 2. He takes low, 1 ball, no strikes. The wind has helped both pitchers tonight, but they have pitched very, very well. The 1-0. Inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Activity in the Atlanta bullpen. Tyler Yates is up and throw. Line into left field. Diaz comes on and made the catch. Good play.
That ball was hit right at him and knuckling out there in left. Matt wasn't sure whether he should play it safely or take a chance, but the ball hung up just enough for him, as you see. And 2-0 he goes and got the glove underneath the ball. Clean catch and good hustle by the second base umpire to get out there and make sure that Matt fielded that ball cleanly.
1 ball, no strikes. Chris Guccione is the second base umpire. The 1-0 pitch. Hit to third. Chipper's got it. A chopper to Chipper. 2 out.
Well, he's had a good night with the glove tonight, hasn't he?
Indeed he has. Here's Felix Pie. He spells it P-I-E, so of course you'd figure he'd be hitting .314. That is not the case. He's 0 for 2 tonight. So his average is 167, but you can see why the Cubs like him so much. He's got a lot of tools.
So there's always room for Pie.
Exactly. Oh, and 1 the count. It's a little low. The count evens at a ball and a strike. Mets now 9-2 over the Fish in the 7th. PA had a weak hack at that. 1-2 the count.
Didn't Mark Grace used to wear number 17 for the Cubs?
He did indeed.
It's kind of strange seeing anybody wearing that uniform for Chicago.
And the inning comes to a close. 1-2-3.
The drama of the NBA playoffs returns to TNT Sunday. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern with Game 1 of Washington at Cleveland. Later Sunday night, it's the NBA playoff preview show starting at 6 p.m., followed by a Western Conference doubleheader. Game 1, Denver at Seattle, followed by Game 1, Golden State at Dallas, and that's the NBA playoffs on TNT this Sunday.
Matt Diaz leads off the Atlanta 7th. Chip and Skip with you from Turner Field. Glenn Diamond, our producer. Al Galima, our statistician. Lonnie Dale, our director. The pitch hit into left center field, but playable for Merton. 1 out.
I think I said Seattle in that promo. That's San Antonio. We were talking about Seattle earlier tonight. So let me be clear on that NBA matchup. Denver at San Antonio. Golden State at Dallas are the 2 games on our NBA doubleheader. So don't miss that on TNT.
Here's Craig Wilson. 0-1 the count. I've got an idea. Why don't we get Joey Crawford to be an analyst in one of those games? He won't be doing anything else. Yeah, the Spurs game would be particularly good. 0-2 the count. I'm really sorry all that happened. He is a great guy. I guess he was wrong, but that doesn't change the fact that he's a great guy. And a very conscientious official, too. And I know Tim Duncan's a quality person and a fine player. It's hard to believe those 2 would have that kind of problem. 2-2 the count.
Boy, Hill's been economical tonight. 91 pitches, 60 strikes.
Line foul. Two and two the count. They put a sign on the message board that says, "Be alert, bats and balls may fly into the stand." Well, if you're reading that sign, you can't be alert because you're not looking at the field. So what does that accomplish? Just missed. Full count on Wilson. And there's a start. Second walk of the night make it. Let's go to Mark Fine in our studios. Mark.
All right, thanks very much, Skip. Let's check out Texas and Chicago. A.J. Pierzynski's been fairly quiet early this season, but there's his first home run off Vicente Padilla. That gives Chicago a 3-1 lead there in the bottom of the fifth, guys.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Brian Pena is the batter. He has a home run this year. How sweet would one be here? Double play ball, 6. He can run. Let's see. Yeah, they get it easily. Terrio turned it in good shape at second base. And that's that in the 7th. Time for the old 7th inning stretch in Atlanta. In the open, we talked about how the Braves were scoring with 2 out. Well, tonight it's been Chicago. In the 4th inning, Michael Barrett with 2 out homered. In the 6th inning, Aramis Ramirez did the same with 2 out. That's the difference in the ball game. We go to the 8th inning. Here to bring you the rest of the way, Chip Caray.
All right, Dad, thanks. Hill's going to start things off, and why not? He has thrown beautifully tonight. A 4-hit shutout for him as he looks to go to 3-0 on the year. Meanwhile, Mark Redmond's pitched a super game himself, but Atlanta hasn't scored for him. A huge improvement, I'm sure, as you said earlier, a confidence boost for Mark, his teammates Bobby Cox and Roger McDowell, the way he's thrown tonight. But it's gotten late. Braves have 6 outs left, and Hill has been mesmerizing. 0-2 to him. And that's 5 strikeouts for Redmond in tonight's game. He's always had good luck against the Cubs. And he's done everything he can tonight. 1 away in the Chicago 8th. Top of the order, Ryan Theriot coming up.
Rafael Soriano was in the Atlanta bullpen. He has taken the seat. Tyler Yates is up again. And I don't believe anybody's throwing for Chicago.
It's Hill's game. Again, very economical pitch count for him. Theriot signed out of LSU by Cubs super scout Jim Crawford, who lives down in Mississippi. He's probably watching our game tonight. And Theriot, a 1-for-3 game at second base. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hudson and Pelfrey tomorrow night in New York. And that ball shot through the right side for a solid single. So 2 hits for Theriot. Let's see if the Cubs try to get a little insurance here and put him in motion with 1 out, with Mark DeRosa coming up. 4 hits in his last 31 tries for Mark. He's 0 for 3 tonight. In fact, his last 2 hits have been home runs. He's got 4 of those in total on the year. Cubs go home after tonight's game and get ready for a big weekend series with the Cardinals at Wrigley Field. Their arch rivals come to town for the first time, and the Cardinals are hurting. They got beat again tonight. Giants whooped up on them 6-2 out in San Francisco, and St. Louis has to be worried about Chris Carpenter. He's got some elbow issues, bone chips or bone spurs in that pitching elbow.
Boy, and he looked great against us in spring training.
I don't know when he's going to come back, and if so, how effective or how gingerly they'll have to treat him. So the Cardinals, with that 6-2 loss today, fall to 6-9. They've lost 4 in a row. Well, the real problem for the Cardinals is how badly they've played in St. Louis. They've lost 6 of 7 at home. Lined over third, that's trouble. Theriot can fly. He's on his way to third. Mike Quaddy's going to wave him around. Diaz fields cleanly. There'll be no play. It's a double, and it's 3-0.
And I'll tell you what, for you youngsters listening, I don't know if we have this replay. I hope we do. Watch Theriot round the bags and watch how he cuts third base. Exactly the way you're supposed to do it. The ball is hit into the corner. Normally you'd think second and third. Watch him. He's already made up his mind he's going to try. See how he cuts the bag and barely gets into the grass? That saves you about 3 steps. And Renteria didn't even make a throw. If he cuts it wide, they might have thrown him out. It's a little thing, but it means a lot.
And the Cubs have that insurance run, and now Derek Lee's coming up. And let's see how Redmond and the Braves work with Lee. They're going to walk him intentionally. And with Ramirez, Barrett, and Merton coming up, one would think Tyler Yates is going to get the summons from the Braves pen as Atlanta will look for an inning-ending double play here. So Derek Lee will walk for the second time in the game. Just the second Redmond walk in the game. And they'll be at first and second with 1 man out. First chance we've seen to had it. First time we've had a chance to see the Cubs in that National League Central, despite their 5-9 record. I think they got a chance.
I think everybody's got a chance in that division.
Absolutely right. So Bobby Cox is going to go get Mark Redmond. 7 1/3 innings of very good baseball tonight. No support from his offense, however, and he trails by a 3-0 score. That's the story from Turner Field. Let's join Mark Fine in our Atlanta studio.
All right, thanks very much, Chip. Checking in on the Twins and the Mariners. 2-1 Seattle, top of the 4th. Jason Bartlett off Jared Washburn's glove. Adrian Beltre saves a run because a runner was on at third. Michael Cuddyer with a double into left. 2 men were on. They both come in to score. Twins would go on to score 5 in the inning and take a 6-2 lead. But 6-5, Joe Nathan on with the tying run at second, strikes out Jose Guillen. 5th save and 5 chances. That's your final. We'll be back with the Braves after this.
Time for the know-how question of the game, built by the Home Depot. And it comes from Kyle Bickford of Cambridge, Ohio. The question is, what does it mean for players to platoon at a position? Well, in almost all cases, Kyle, it's a right-handed, left-handed thing. For example, the Braves, when a left-hander pitches, Matt Diaz has been starting in left field. When a right-hander pitches, Ryan Langerhans has. That way you have the right-handed, left-handed thing. Now, why they call it platoon, which is a group of men in the military, that I can't answer, but that's what platooning means in baseball. Here's Chip.
Tyler Yates on for the 8th time. An ERA of 6. He's given up 7 runs this year, but 5 of those came in a game against the Mets on April the 6th. He's been a lot more effective. And he starts Ramirez with a strike. Arama's homered back in the 6th inning to extend the Cub lead to 2. Cubs now with 11 home runs this year, 7 of those 11 solo shots, and that's the way their ball club is built. To hit it out of the park. And Mark Redmond picked a bad time to run into Mr. Hill of the Cubs.
If Redmond pitches like that, though, that really helps Atlanta long term.
There's the Cubs box score. Ramirez, Barrett, Merton. The next 3 hitters for Chicago have all had good offensive nights. Steve Collier now up and throwing in the Braves bullpen. He's a left-hander. 0-2 the count. 3-0 Chicago. Cubs trying to split this 2-game series, and Braves trying to come back late before a long 9-game road trip to New York, Florida, and Colorado. Didn't miss by much.
Tyler's a mystery man. He's got great stuff. If his location is good, he can be a dominant relief pitcher.
Ramirez protecting the plate. That's one thing about Ramirez I don't think it's really appreciated. For all the power and runs he drives in, he doesn't strike out too often. He's a good 2-strike hitter. And as we saw earlier tonight, a good low ball hitter. He went down and got a pitch low and away from him and drove it out into the teeth of that wind into left center field about 395 feet away. One ball, 2 strikes. And Ramirez chased a bad ball. Did he tip it? Apparently not. Ramirez down on strikes. In fact, Ramirez, the most strikeouts he's had was 2001. He punched out 100 times. But in the last 3 years with the Cubs, his strikeout high is 63 with an average of 35 home runs and 110 RBIs each season. That is old-fashioned kind of contact and damage for Ramirez at third base. So Yates gets the first he's assigned. That's a good sign, and now he's quickly ahead of Michael Barrett.
Cubs got him and Kenny Lofton for Jose Hernandez, a pitcher named Matt Bruback, and infielder Bobby Hill. Advantage Cubs big.
In fact, I was working for the Cubs and we were here in Atlanta the night that trade was announced. And that was a deal that propelled the Cubs to the National League Championship Series, which obviously they did not win. And the famous banner in Chicago was on the apartment building above the left field bleachers that said, "Thanks, Pittsburgh." Yates has come on throwing strikes. See if he can get Barrett, who's had a good night for the hometown crowd in Atlanta. Threw the bat at the ball and should fly out to left. Tyler Yates, very impressive, strands 2 Cub base runners. Now the game back in the hands of young Rich Hill as he's got the 9-1-2 spots and a 3-run lead.
You want to argue about this? Then let's argue naked.
Sure, anything to move it along.
Bill Engvall stars in the all-new TBS comedy series, The Bill Engvall Show. Premieres July 17th, only on TBS.
Well, the Braves need to rally big time here as we go to the last of the 8th inning. 3-0, the Cubs have the lead. And Chris Woodward will bat for Tyler Yates, then Kelly Johnson, then Edgar Renteria. Nobody up in the Cubs bullpen. That's how dominant Rich Hill has been. He has thrown just 96 pitches. And I'd guess of the 96, 65 of them have been breaking balls. But perhaps a start. Nope, Cedeno drifts out in shallow left and hauls that in on a broken bat bloop. And there's the first out in our 8th inning tonight. So Hill trying to go to the ranks of 3-0. And as you look at Kelly Johnson's Napa scorecard, you'll see he's 2 for 3. 8 hits in his last 12 at bats. And that average climbing rapidly.
There's something new. He came crossfire.
He's done that a couple of times tonight. A little weapon to keep the lefties honest. Kelly likes hitting the lefties. Says it really helps him against the right-handers. We'll see if that proves valuable tonight. 8th inning, 3-0 Chicago. Left side, Wynn trying to push that ball into fair territory, but Kelly gets another swing with a 2-2 count.
Grand slam in the 9th to win it would be neat.
Sure. But you got to get Hill out of the game. With that in mind, and the pitch count at 100, Michael Wirtz. Whoa, Hill slipped and let go of that baseball. Man, oh man, that could have been disastrous.
And Terrio's going to come in, and so is Cedeno. See if he hurt himself.
Now Mark O'Neill, Larry Rothschild, the trainer and pitching coach of the Cubs, and Lou Piniella perhaps as well. Wow, that's a scary sight for Cubs fans everywhere. It looked like his heel caught.
His foot hit the ground before he wanted it to, and he just simply lost control. Let's see if they have him throw a couple. Meanwhile, the message board puts comedy up when a player gets hurt. I find that detestable.
And the MASH theme song for some reason. But it looks like Hill's going to be all right. And you don't want to see any young promising pitcher.
For anybody, yours or anybody else's, get hurt like that.
Yep. A wry smile from the young lefty out of Boston, Massachusetts. And now he'll climb back on the perch. Full count, Kelly Johnson, who's drawn 10 walks this year. Braves need a couple of guys on, and then one of the big bats to pop one. And ball 4. There's the start. That's the 3rd walk in as many innings for Hill late in the game. And Larry Rothschild, Lou Piniella awaiting Wirtz to pronounce himself ready for duty. Here's Edgar Renteria. Sacrifice, 2 flyouts. The second of those 2 flyouts costly. It came in the 6th inning. Braves could not get a run as Edgar couldn't get Kelly Johnson to third base. And now Hill behind him 1-0. Braves have been a comeback team. They've done a lot of scoring with 2 outs. They've done a lot of scoring after the 7th inning. Will tonight be another miracle finish against the Cubs? Turn that ball over, and Edgar in disbelief takes a second strike.
And I can see why he might complain. That ball appeared to be a little bit outside.
Well, for all you trivia fans out there, if Hill gets the win tonight, can you name the last Cub starter that pitches from the left side to start the year 3-0? He didn't go.
I can't.
Al Golema and our friends at Elias did. Dave Roberts in 1978 with the Cubs was the last lefty to go 3-0 at the start of the year as a starting pitcher. Rounder, foul past Ramirez, who was not guarding the line. We got fans falling out of the seats all over the place tonight.
Must be something in the water.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
Never found it to be so. Everything in moderation.
2-2 count. And Renteria chased a high fastball. He hasn't thrown many of those tonight because he hasn't had to. Down and away, and then that tantalizing fastball above the letters, and Hill has another punch out. That's 7. 2 outs now for Chipper. He and Andrew are 4 for 29 with runners in scoring position this year. Yet the Braves are 10-4. This, of course, not a runner in scoring position situation, but the middle of the order has had a rough time with Hill. Hard hit ball. Oh, Ramirez somehow found that. And the throw to first. What a play. Aramis Ramirez with a marvelous play at third base. Turns the tables on Chipper Jones. Two great plays by Aramis Ramirez and Derek Lee, and the Braves are out of luck in the last of the eighth.
New York City is full of wackos. So it takes a lot of spandex to stand out in a crowd.
Guy with 8 hands. Sounds hot.
Spider-Man, Sunday at 8 on TBS.
Huh? Here we go to the ninth inning. Yeah, we're back.
Oh, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
Oscar Villarreal on, and Matt Merton lines a ball off Chipper's glove and into left field. So a 2-hit night for Matt Merton. Can't give the Cubs any more tonight. They already lead by a 3-0 score. Here's Cedeno. He's 0 for 3. 1 for 20 to start the year. There's Oscar. Very impressive strikeout to walk ratio for Villarreal. Cubs show bunt and a ball. Mike Quade, a longtime Cubs minor league coach, now their third base coach. Matt Sinatra over at first here in the ninth. A 4-hitter for Chicago. There's the bunt, and Chipper will make the play. Good sacrifice. Kelly Johnson came off that bag wanting to fire back and maybe pick off Merton. Another insurance run at second base for the Cubs now with 1 out, and Felix Pie coming up. Pie 0 for 3, 2 for 13. Slashed foul for a strike. Looking ahead to the Braves' ninth, as you look at Darrell Ward. Middle of the order for the Braves will be coming up. Andrew Jones, Jeff Francoeur, Matt Diaz. That also has Brian McCann available on the bench. Langerhans, Thorman, and Peter Orr. And it'll be Ryan Dempster, you'd figure. For Chicago, he hasn't had many save opportunities this year. They need to get him tuned up.
Nothing against him, but I'll take anybody rather than Hill. Well, he was great.
How about this? Hill has given up 1 run in 22 innings with 18 strikeouts, 7 walks, and only 8 hits in those 22 innings. And an 0.41 ERA. And again, barring the Braves come back in the ninth, they'll go to 3-0. Dave Roberts, the last Cub left-handed starter to go 3-0, and that was back in 1978. A ball and 2 strikes to Pie. Hard hit ball up the middle. Kelly Johnson to his right, has to hurry and got his man. Kelly Johnson saved a run. Merton to third, but with 2 outs. And Darrell Ward, a former Brave, is coming up here in the ninth inning.
This is a good play by Kelly, but look at this PA run. Boy, he can motor. That ball gets through, another run is in. And a bang banger at first. Good play. We've seen a lot of errors in this series, though not tonight, but a lot of brilliant defense as well.
Now the Braves will intentionally pass Ward and take their chances with Terrio.
That's the second time in as many nights they've intentionally walked Ward. And the Braves wish he were still with them, but the Cubs, I guess, outbid him.
I think that's one area where the Braves at the trading deadline, assuming they're still in the East, will try to bolster this roster, get a left-handed thumper off the bench. Most closers in baseball are right-handed, and you need that big bopper late in the ball games. The one notable exception resides in the National League East with Billy Wagner. The Braves feel like they're pretty well protected from the right side with guys like Diaz and Craig Wilson. So that's something to keep an eye on as the summer goes along here in Atlanta. And we go back to the top of the order with Ryan Theriot, who's 2 for 4 with a run scored in tonight's game. First and third, 2 out. He's 4 for 8. Here's Theriot with runners in scoring position. And a terrific defensive second baseman. If he can hit enough, that thick, luxurious grass at Wrigley Field will make an excellent second baseman even better. Really slows down the baseball. And that's another area where the Cubs feel like they needed to improve after last season's very, very frustrating year. That strike to even it up. They got his Torres. They have Lee and Ramirez on the corners. Barrett behind the plate. He's more known as an offensive catcher than he is for his game skills behind the plate. Two balls, 1 strike, 3-0 in the 9th. Oscar drops down a bit. 2-2. In New York tomorrow night and through the weekend, and down to Miami to play the Marlins Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Off day on Thursday in Colorado, then the Rockies next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Coors Field. And Theriot chased a high slider, and that'll retire the side. Oscar puts 2 on, but strands them both, and it's the last chance for the Braves against Cub closer Ryan Dempster.
Check out Braves TBS Extra presented by Sonic tomorrow. Braves and Mets, first game of a 3-game series. It all gets started with Chip and Boise State's Joe Simpson at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Braves TBS Extra presented by Sonic tomorrow on TBS.
That's not fair. He's not here to defend himself.
He'll be here to defend himself more than I'm here to get on him.
Here's Ryan Dempster, Cubs closer. He's been terrific this year, and he's noticeably leaner and meaner than he was last season. He's lost about 30 pounds, has Ryan Dempster. And he's held the opposition to 1 for 21 at the plate so far in 2007. Good news is Hill's out of the game. Bad news is Braves are down 3, and now they're down to their last 2 outs as Andrew rolls out to start the 9th inning. Andrew 0 for 3 with a walk. Brings up Jeff Francoeur, who's 1 for 3 tonight. Not much offense for Atlanta tonight. Braves have left 6 men on base tonight. 3 of them in scoring position. Big hopper to Cedeno. 2 outs. And Dempster trying to exact a little revenge on Atlanta. He has not had good luck in his career against the Braves. Dempster, who pitched for the Marlins and was their all-time wins leader before being moved along to Cincinnati in 2002, entering this season is 1-9 lifetime, no saves, and a .559 ERA against Atlanta hitting. But he's 1 out away from sending the Cubs home with a 3-0 win. And Matt Diaz stands in his way in the 9th. One ball, 1 strike. Dempster, a guy that's tailor-made for that Wrigley Field infield. When he's right, a turbo sinker. Lots of ground ball outs. Good slider, too. 1-2 your count. Now time granted. And Matt just did stay alive.
Brian McCann on deck if Diaz can keep it going.
Hill and Redmond, the pitchers of record. Dempster looking for a save. And all hitters against Dempster. 1 for 23 now. And now 1 for 24. Barrett the peg to first, and the Cubs split the series. Outstanding pitching by Rich Hill tonight as the Cubs throw a 4-hit shutout at the Braves in Atlanta and split the series at 1 game apiece. A tough night for Mark Redmond, who looked very, very good, but he picked the wrong night to face the Chicago Cubs as they head back to Wrigley and await the St. Louis Cardinals. Braves hit the road for a 9-game road trip starting tomorrow night. Back with more from Turner Field in just a moment.
Braves TBS Baseball, brought to you by the Home Depot. With the guaranteed low price and the know-how to make every dollar work harder. You can do it. We can help. By Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, personal watercraft, and scooters. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. And by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Mark 5 back in our Atlanta studios. One game we want to wrap up for you. Houston and Cincinnati. The Reds' Josh Hamilton, one of the great stories of this early season. Home run number 5 off Woody Williams. They led it 6-1, but top of the 8th, Luke Scotty had already homered in the game. Bases loaded. That's a 3-run double. They drive in the go-ahead run, and Houston goes on to win by the final of 8-6. Now let's get it back out to Skip Carey at Turner Field.
Okay, Mark, thanks very much. Well, sometimes you kick yourself when you lose. Tonight you just got to tip your hat to that guy, Rich Hill. He was terrific. He's allowed just 4 hits in 8 innings. He struck out 7. He's got as good a curveball as anybody in the business, and it makes his fastball look that much better. There's 5 of his 7 strikeouts. He was the man tonight. Your totals for the Cubs: 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 7 left. For Atlanta, no runs, 4 hits, no errors, 6 left. Rich Hill, the winner, is 3-0. Mark Redmond deserved a better fate. He's 0-3. Ryan Dempster is 3rd save. Time of the game, 2:27 and 31,603 paid to see it.
And what a difference a year makes for the Braves. Last time they went to New York in April, they were 4 games out of first place. If the Mets hold on and win their game tonight, Atlanta will be a half game behind New York as they meet the Mets tomorrow in our TBS extra telecast at 7 o'clock Eastern up at Shea Stadium. Tim Hudson and Mike Pelfrey will hook up on TBS tomorrow night. Coming up next on TBS on the East Coast, it's Friends. Out West, it's Yes Dear. For my dad, Skip Carey, for Glenn Diamond, Lonnie Dale, and Hal DeLeman, the rest of our great TBS crew, Chip Carey from the ballpark. You've been watching TBS.